If you're tired of being declined by Capital One or Discover Bank, you need to watch this video because I'm going to talk about some huge news that's happening in the credit card world. The Capital One and Discover Bank merger has officially been approved by the Federal Reserve. And Capital One has also released a statement that the transaction is expected to close on May 18th of 2025. I don't understand how nobody's covering this story because this combined entity will become the 8th largest bank covered by the government deposit insurance, the FDIC. But the biggest question remains, what does this mean for your wallet? So on today's video, I'm going to cover the pros and the cons of what truly is going to happen when this merger is completed on May 18th of 2025. But before we get into this video, make sure that you smash that like and subscribe button so this video gets out to more people so everyone can stay informed about these massive changes that are happening with Capital One and Discover Bank. Now make sure that you stick with me to the end because I'm gonna show you exactly how you need to prepare for this merger if you are a Discover Bank or Capital One credit card holder. So first, let's start here. What are the commitments that Capital One has actually outlined for the next 5 years with this new merger? Now let's put it up on the screen where they actually show their community benefits plan and the entire lineup of what they're trying to accomplish in the next 5 years with this massive merger. Let's read it verbatim. This plan demonstrates that the combination of Capital One and Discover will create an opportunity to provide more lending, investment, and services to underserved communities that the institutions would undertake on a standalone basis. Capital One is one of the largest subprime lenders out there, and they do go after people with lower credit scores, and they help so many people rebuild their credit or get auto loans, and then you can actually refinance with them. So this is something that Capital One is very familiar with, but Discover not so much. But let's continue to read. These commitments will aim to expand economic opportunity for underserved consumers, including those in low and moderate income neighborhoods, rural areas, and communities of color. It will support increased access to best-in-class products and services for unbanked or underbanked consumers, as well as consumers across the credit spectrum, and expand access to capital and opportunity. Now here's the outline of the 5-year plan. The 5-year plan is designed to enable greater access to safe and affordable housing. That's a huge one. Expand access to credit so small business owners can sustain and grow their businesses. Also another big one. Increase access to credit for LMI consumers, which we covered earlier, which is low and moderate income consumers. Build high quality local infrastructure to facilitate and delivery of essentials, and support the development of schools, civic centers, and health facilities that are vital to building strong and vibrant communities. So we're probably most likely going to see more local Capital One branches is what that actually sounds like to me. Before we bust into the pros and the cons, I want all my Discover credit card holders out there to tell me, are you excited for this merger with Capital One, or are you planning on closing your Discover credit cards? Let's go and start with the cons. Let's go and get all the negative juju out of the way. But for me, the biggest one is Capital One and Discover Bank each have their own payment network systems. So Discover has what's called a closed loop payment system where they actually own the entire payment processing system. But with Capital One, they actually have credit cards that have the Visa logo and the MasterCard logo. So they actually pay a lot of fees to process every single payment and every single transaction using those networks. Now, moving over to the Discover network is going to save Capital One billions of dollars. But does that mean that every single credit card is now going to go into the Discover payment loop and they're all only going to be actually accepted with the Discover logo? Which could be a negative in the sense that Discover is not accepted everywhere internationally, but the Discover credit card does not have any international fees. And I think that's why they do it, because let's be honest, they're not accepted everywhere internationally, unfortunately. Now, the biggest con of all is that this merger may impact Capital One and Discover customers' credit card interest rates and fees, but no one is certain on what that impact may be. Could it be that the merger causes the interest rates to skyrocket and fees to also skyrocket? That's a lot of the speculation out there, but it wouldn't make sense because then people will close their credit cards, right? And if people see that their interest rates increase, then that would cause Capital One and Discover Bank credit card holders to stop using their credit cards. And what happens then? Then the bank makes no money. So it kind of doesn't make sense why they would do that, but a lot of people are speculating this, and me personally, I don't believe that's gonna happen because it just doesn't make sense financially. But again, this is 2025 and we have no idea what can happen. Now, another crazy con that we see here is that it's possible that a lot of the borrowers that have good to excellent credit that are with Discover Bank may leave their credit cards and close them and go to other credit card companies that they say, like, you know what, what, I'm not trying to be with this merger because I'm not a fan of Capital One. And then that leaves Capital One and the Discover merger with a lot of subprime borrowers out there. I want to give a special shout out to all my beasters out there that are working hard to fix their credit using DisputeBeast, the most advanced AI credit repair software ever created that comes with the 110% money back guarantee. But specifically to Jay, Jay's credit score went up 222 points after just one round with DisputeBeast. And Abdul's credit score went up 206 points after just one round with DisputeBeast. But let's not forget about Alexander. Alexander's credit score went up 211 points after just one round with DisputeBeast. DisputeBeast's link is going to be in the video description and pinned at the top of the comments for anyone that needs to fix their credit. Last part's the most important. But again, it makes no sense to me why they would increase interest fees and other fees and then cause all of these people that have good to excellent credit scores to close their credit cards and go somewhere else, because people with excellent credit aren't going to tolerate high interest fees. Even if you have good credit, you know that like, okay, maybe one day if I ever have to carry a balance, which we shouldn't, we all know that, but these interest rates are outrageous. Why would I stay with this credit card company? But again, remember, it could actually happen that they don't increase any fees whatsoever. This could just all be speculation. Now, moving on to the pros, if you are a Capital One credit card holder and you just have never been able to get into the Discover Bank credit card family, well, guess what? Now you will officially be in the Discover Bank credit card family because of this merger. And the same thing goes for any Discover Bank credit card holders out there. Now you're officially in the Capital One family with this merger. And you're probably like, well, why does that matter, Mike? Well, it matters a huge deal because now it's going to be an easier path for you to get those credit cards with Capital One or Discover Bank if you'd actually decide to, or you've been hunting down one of those credit cards previously. But let's be honest here, because it's way easier to get a Capital One credit card than it is to get a Discover Bank credit card. So all of these Capital One credit card holders, if you're in good standing, this is going to benefit you more than ever with this merger. Now, one of the biggest pros that nobody out there is talking about with this Capital One merger is going to be that Capital One has announced that they're going to transition their debit cards to the Discover debit card network. Why does that matter, you say? Because Discover debit cards have cash back rewards. This is super significant because Discover Bank is truly one of the very few banks that offers a cash back reward debit card, because typically debit cards come with 0 rewards, but with the Discover Cashback debit card, you can earn 1% cash back on up to $3,000 in debit card purchases each month. And the checking account is fee-free and rewards never expire. But let's say hypothetically, you're someone that's debit card heavy, you don't use credit cards. And listen, there's nothing wrong with that because I always say credit cards aren't for everybody. Because the cap is set at $3,000 a month in cashback rewards, you will have the opportunity to make $36,000 a year in just cashback rewards for using your debit card. That's massive. Now let's move into the final piece of our video, how to prepare for the merger, because I believe that nobody ever talks about this and prepares you properly. Before this merger takes place, it's a good idea for Capital One and Discover card holders to look up their credit card policies. Now you can simply Google CFPB credit card database, and then you go there and you look up your specific credit card to look at the entire policy, or you can request it from Capital One or Discover Bank. And I believe that it might be in your mobile app also. But again, you can request it if you'd like to see it. You're probably wondering, but why is this important? You need to review all of the key details of your credit cards or your debit cards that you have. You want to pay attention to the interest rate and the fees and the reward system of how exactly it is structured, so you make sure that you don't get duped. Also, make sure to pay attention to any type of communication from Capital One or Discover Bank. Make sure that your information is up to date, meaning that whatever information they have, your address, your email, your phone number, all that information should be up to date, and you can update that inside the app or call them over the phone too if you actually want to. Because the chances are very high that cardholders are going to start receiving updates as the merger approaches and takes place. So you want to pay attention to all of these details, specifically to interest rates, fees, and rewards. And listen, if these new changes don't make sense to you, then go shop around for a better credit card. There's nothing wrong with that, because remember, this is your credit profile. You run it, you control it. But understand, if you close a credit card, there can potentially be some type of negative impact because you're closing an account on your credit reports. Now, I can't say for 100% like, okay, your credit score is going to drop, or no, nothing's something's gonna happen, because every credit profile is different, because there are no two credit profiles that are alike out there. So it could have a negative impact on your credit score, or it could not. Or if you close that credit card and you open a new one, it could have a positive impact also. But the key thing to always remember, anytime you close an account, it can potentially have a negative impact, because you're closing the account, you're losing that available credit, and you're going to lose the average age of credit that was added to your credit profile. And even if you close a credit card, it's going to stay on your credit reports for up to 10 years after it's been closed. So I hope you enjoyed this video on another big one about the Capital One and Discover Bank merger that nobody else is talking about. Now make sure that you watch this next video, because it is about how to actually delete negative items from your credit report using the most powerful AI credit repair software ever created. And if you felt that I brought you some value in this video, make sure that you don't forget and subscribe to increase your credit score.